I think one of the things that really kind of infuriates me about the other side of this debate is the superficiality of the reasonableness of their point of view. So allow me to elucidate, about my perspective on this one. If you were to point out, for instance, in a comment section that the officer involved in this shooting of REnee Nicole Good should have simply stepped out of the way of her vehicle, there's always going to be somebody that comes in sputtering, like, what? Let the suspect go? And part of the thing that pisses me off about that, and, that finds that rebuttal or incredulity to be incredibly brain dead in its objection to things, is simply, now, I don't know about you, but, for one thing, I have one family member that, to our great shame, happens to work for law enforcement. So I know one thing that most people actually know already, even people who don't, have a family member in law enforcement. Almost everybody in our society knows it, which is the following. If I were a cop and I go and I write down your license plate and number and everything, all I have to do is take that information, input it in my computer, and whoop, on the screen, I have your full address. At least I have the address of the vehicle owner on file. Now, if REnee was not the vehicle owner on file and she was borrowing the car, hypothetically, we don't know that. We don't know that is that, and the overwhelming probability is that that was not the case, but let's imagine for the sake of argument, just, in case there's an edge case scenario here. No. Even in that scenario, we now live in a CCTV nation, which means there are cameras everywhere, and they can still find her and track her back to where she is staying at the moment. What this means in practice is it doesn't matter why the officers are asking her to exit her vehicle. That order doesn't actually need to be complied with right away on the scene. If REnee is allowed to drive off from the officers and back to her place, they can find her when they are ready. And come to her front door. In order to do this, it is relatively trivial for the cops to do this in 2026. And so, yes, the officer should have stepped out of the way of the car and allowed the damn driver to carry forward. It was unreasonable. He put himself in harm's way unreasonably per the standards of any reasonable court. And that's what grills me about it. If he was in harm's way, he put his own damn self in harm's way. So it is his own fault and responsibility.